Hello. Welcome to Nerdish. That's Levi. I'm Brady. We're going to be going over some big things today. Number 1, ellipses.
Number 2, listing commas.
And also, someone asked about who versus whom.
Who asked?
CB Turtle.
Really?
Yep.
Are you sure?
It's on the Discord.
Today?
Yep.
That's exciting.
It's very exciting. Who versus whom, CB Turtle. Absolutely. Levi,
Oh, I should probably.
how was your day?
My day was pretty hip hop.
Was it?
It was. What did I do today?
What did you do today?
I went to class. That was fun. Class is always fun.
Someone's a student, huh?
Student of life.
Forever learning.
Forever.
Great. That was good. Glad we had that moment.
Okay.
My master bids thee welcome.
My master bids thee welcome.
Very good.
Do it.
Well, you know, fine. Well, it's too late now. Yeah.
That was very awkward.
Sorry. We'll do it next time. I got scared.
Yeah, you did.
All right, should I just get this thing going?
I think we should give it a moment.
Really?
Yeah.
Why?
Do you think?
To get more people watching?
Yeah.
We could. What if someone watching right now really wants to know about ellipses?
What do we put the wigs on with these?
The old lady wigs? Old Brooklyn elf women. I think
yes.
that's a good idea.
It's not a bad idea.
Oh, jeez. Does my forehead look greasy? A
A
little bit.
Well, are we comparing it to other foreheads or like
To what it usually looks like.
saucepans?
What it usually look like.
Oh, no.
Really? Are you sure? It looks greasy, doesn't it?
It's fine.
Yeah. Okay. So, but it looks greasy.
If you insist.
I mean, look in the reflection because I just ran out of this one product I was using forever that was discontinued, so I had to get something else that's similar to it.
Oh, the blood?
Yes, blood. I just ran out of blood, and I had to get different blood. I think my skin is oilier. More oily? Is it oilier? Or is that the mathematician, Leonard Oilier, that invented that E number? And our viewers are down to 0. All right, Lee, what are we going to do?
I'm not sure.
Should we wait?
I'd wait.
Well, viewers, are scrolling past us on Facebook. We probably should. Oh, we got a viewer. All right, let's start.
It's probably me.
Really?
I don't know. Hey, CB Turtle, are you here or is that not you? Could be anybody.
Should write this up a little higher. Whatever.
Ellipses.
Oh, we got 2 viewers.
You know what I think I found today?
What?
I think that the word subtle
Yeah?
might come from the word subtile, like underneath the tile.
I don't think so.
No, tile is a very old word.
What does it mean?
It means a tile. So like they made tiles out of, clay.
Mosaics and stuff a long
Yeah.
time ago.
Yeah.
So below the tile
Subtile, and
is
then it
what?
that like it's below the tile.
Hey! Steven Mysco! How's your time worm treating you, my brother? It's an inside joke. He understands.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's good. Is that your dad?
It is not my dad. That has
Oh.
a different last name than me.
Is it my dad?
Yes, it is.
My dad often assumes alternate personalities to interact with me
That makes sense.
because otherwise I go, Dad, you're embarrassing me.
And then he just is someone else.
Yeah.
One of my students today asked me if I was born in Wisconsin, and I said, no, were you?
Yes.
Oh, I got that kid good.
Did anybody think it was funny?
Yeah, I think they did.
Okay, that's good.
I think so. They're freshmen. They'll figure it out. Okay.
I'll be over here.
I hope so.
Yeah. No, are you?
Get out of here.
Did I do it good?
Yeah, you did it well.
All right.
All right, guys. Ellipses are basically ovals. They're not circles because they are eccentric. They're either horizontally oriented, or in this case, they are vertically oriented. Okay? These are pretty extreme ones. They could also be a little more circular, but as long as they're not circular, they're ellipses. Planets go around the sun in elliptical orbits, just like anything that orbits anything else. It's an ellipses. That's multiple of ellipse. So they're very fun. And you need to know the equation of ellipses, how to graph them, and how to do ellipses. So here's what's going to happen. we've talked about circles a lot of times. Circles are all of the points that are a certain distance away from a central point. Ellipses are a little different. Here's what they really are. Let's say you had two pegs. You stuck them in. These pegs are stuck. All right? Then we had this piece of string. Let's just say it's this piece of string. And we have a pencil right at that piece of string right here. So we have a pencil. We're allowed to move that pencil, but the piece of string needs to stay the same length. All right? As you move this pencil to the right, this distance would get smaller as this distance would get a little bit larger, and you would start to trace out something that looks like this. Wow, that looks more like a rectangle. It's decent. This corner's got to change. And yeah, there we go. That's an ellipse, all right? What those two pegs represent are called, individually, they are both a focus, plural, foci, okay?
Foci.
Not foci. Don't believe what Levi says about anything, okay? And the distance between, well, here's how it is. An ellipse is all of the points that when you take the combined distance away from the two foci, the combined distance will always be the same. Okay, that's what this string represents. It's the combined distance. That is a fixed length of string. That is always going to be the same length, and you can just move around the pencil, but it's going to draw that out. Okay. So here's how this works. A ellipse has two different radii. Okay, we have an x radius, which we're going to call A, and we have a y radius, which we're going to call B. All right. In this case, our y radius is larger than our x radius, but in this case, our A value is going to be much larger than our B value. Okay, so think of it in terms of A is x radius, and B is the y radius. Oop, I didn't mean to do that. This is embarrassing. Don't tell my grandma. Y radius. That was outrageous. Huh. Should I just roll my R's a lot for the rest of the day?
No.
Oh.
Yeah.
Brady.
Maybe more subtly than that. Or
I like below the title.
subtilely.
Subtilely. Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. That makes sense.
Huh.
Good. Good. All right. That's really fun. So we're going to start with ellipses that are just centered at the origin. Okay, which is these two right here. So you don't have to worry about the center being somewhere else. The equation is going to look like this. X squared over A squared plus, nope, not B squared.
What?
Sorry, plus Y squared over B squared is equal to 1. Okay? Now you might be like, where does that come from? And that's a great question. And there is a proof that starts out with these two distances, and eventually you get into this. Okay? We are not going to go over that. You can look at Khan Academy, and that'll prove it to you. But this is the equation for an ellipse. So notice, they're set equal to 1. Okay? That's what the ellipse equation is set equal to. And both x squared and y squared are over the square of their respective radii. A is the x radius. X squared is over its own radius squared, and y is over its own radius squared. So let's talk about what an ellipse might be, or what one might look like. Let's say we had x squared over 16 plus y squared over 81 is equal to 1. What would be the dimensions of this ellipse? Well, our a squared is 16. So our a would be the square root of that, which is 4. Our b squared is 81. So our b value would be the square root of that, which would be 9. So would this ellipse be horizontally oriented or vertically oriented? The larger radius is the y radius. So this thing is going to be stretched up and down in the vertical direction. Let's see what this thing would look like. Draw us some axes. It's centered at the origin because that's... You'll see what it looks like when it's not. Wow, this marker is not great. Levi, I never know what to do because you try the markers and they're great, and then like a second later, they're dying.
It's because you're lefty.
Is that why?
Yeah.
Oh, jeez. Anyway, our x radius is 4. So we're going to go 4 units away from the origin in both directions. Our y radius is 9. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. These axes are not long enough. Woo. All right. So we know we have points here, 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 and here. And we just got to kind of ballpark and connect them. Woo. There we go. That's an ellipse right there. It's got an x radius of 4, the y radius of 9. That's the equation of this ellipse here. Now, we have not talked about the focus. This is the foci. We're not going to talk about it yet. We're first going to talk about the center of an ellipse. Right here, the center is the origin. Okay, that's pretty straightforward. What if the center was not the origin? How is that going to change things? Well, this formula here is going to have a little bit of a variation. It has to account for the fact that the center is now somewhere else. And so what that is going to look like, let's see, is this still kind of, yeah, it is. Still got some moisture on it. We're going to have to change it. Just like with circles, the letters that we use to represent the center are HK. Okay? Okay? HK. So with a center of H comma K, the equation becomes this. X minus H squared over A squared plus Y minus K squared over B squared is equal to 1. All right? Very similar to what we did with a circle. In fact, it's the exact same thing. We just subtract the x coordinate of the center from x and the y coordinate of the center from y, and everything else in the equation stays the same. So let's graph something after I clean a little bit of this off.
No, me, my lord.
You want to help clean?
Yes, my lord.
All right. Here we go.
Do you?
This stuff here.
Yes, my lord.
Look at this stuff there.
Oh, what a scything,
What?
like a scything blow. I don't think scything is a word.
Like what you do with a scythe?
Yeah, like a scything squirt of the Windex.
Don't you do like communism with a scythe? I mean, that's a sickle and a scythe.
Sickle.
Sickle.
You know, the word sickle actually comes from...
I don't think I believe you.
No. You got to hear me out. It's from a kid named Kyle who was sick. It was sick Kyle, and then they were like, sickle. Right? You remember.
From when?
The time.
Oh, the time.
Yeah.
Oh, you should have said that before.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course I remember that.
Are you done? Is it my turn?
Nope.
Okay.
Nice try.
Hey, just a little plug for listing commas, which is coming up next on TBS.
For you.
Today.
Very funny.
Is...
That's what they say on the show.
So listing commas are not easy, first of all, and some people think, and I also tell my students generally that listing commas are the simplest idea, and they are, but they are actually pretty tricky sometimes. So we're going to do a couple things that come up sometimes, and it's fun, and it will help you get into college for sure.
We love college.
Everybody loves college.
All right, this equation here. X minus 4 squared over 1 plus y plus 3 squared over 4 is equal to 1. Let's harvest the organs of this equation and figure out what we know about it. The center is minus h minus k. hk is our center. What are we subtracting here? Well, our x center, we're subtracting 4. So our center is going to be 4, but it's not going to be positive 3 because, remember, we're usually subtracting it. So what could we be subtracting to get positive 3? Negative 3. That right there is our center. What about our A and our B? A is the x radius, y. B is the y radius. Jeez. All right, well, x minus 4 squared is over a squared, which is 1. So a, therefore, must be 1. So that's our x radius. It's just 1. B squared is 4, so b is just 2. So we have a center of 4 comma negative 3. You gonna sneeze? Right. And
Why not 3 below?
ah, well done. Sorry, I shouldn't have said that.
Yeah.
I should keep
Can't
that
say those
for the
words.
subscribers. Yeah, so you know what? Let's let's draw this thing out. I think it'd be fun. Center, 4 comma negative 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, negative 1, negative 2, negative 3. Bam, center's right there. We're gonna go left by 1 and right by 1. We're gonna go up by 2, down by 2. So we're gonna go to that, and we're gonna go to that. And we have this miniature little ellipse. And it's just really fun. And it's having a great time. Because it's small. It doesn't need to be large. Yeah, okay. Now the last thing. Levi, do they ever actually make you calculate where the foci are? I think it's just they say, where do we think the foci are going to be? And they give you a bunch that are eliminatable.
Yeah.
So I don't think we really need to go over that. Make sure that your foci are along what's called the major axis, which is the long length of your ellipse. The minor axis is a short length. So you want to draw a dotted line that goes through the axis of symmetry. Never mind, there's 2 different axes of symmetry. The one that's, with the long side. If it's a vertical ellipse, your foci are going to be somewhere on this line. They're going to be symmetrical, all right? They're not going to be on the endpoints. That's not where foci are. If you have a horizontal ellipse, they're going to be somewhere along here, okay? Major axis is the longer length, and then the minor axis is the shorter length. When they say semi-major, that means half. Semicircle is half a circle. So half of semi-major axis, you'd find the major axis divided by 2, which is incidentally the y radius. That is what it's normally called, is the semi-major axis. And then the semi-minor axis is half of the other dimension, so that's going to be the x radius. In this case, semi-major axis is going to be A, semi-minor axis is going to be B. Yeah. They're taking the hobbits to Isengard. God. They're taking the hobbits to Isengard.
Isengard to Isengard.
Da 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 da. Da 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 da. They're taking the hobbits to Isengard. They're taking the hobbits to Isengard. You can have my bow.
My axe.
My sword.
My shield.
My wife. I should have said that. Sorry.
Oh no.
Sorry.
Oh no, it's all
I had to
good.
say it.
Are you done? Is it common?
I'm done.
Yes.
Very exciting.
Pretty cool.
None of you have ever seen commas used quite like this before, and if you have, please stop watching the stream.
I'm excited.
I need to be right.
Ow!
You forced that. You didn't feel that way.
You don't know that.
I do. I know that.
You
I
don't
spend such an unbelievable amount of time with you. I know exactly how you feel based on what you say, dude.
That's not true. We never see each other
We didn't
anymore.
even see each other right
You didn't
now.
see me at all this afternoon.
That's true. It's been a full
Couple
afternoon.
hours. Yeah. Woo.
Hey, for those of you who are watching, ask some questions. You can ask in the chat or in the comments section, or you can ask in our Discord.
Discord.
The Discord, my lord. Anything about anything you want. I mean, ideally semi-related to this stream, so SAT, ACT, college application, whatever you want to do.
My
Yeah.
master Sauron the Great bids thee welcome.
Okay.
Oh gosh. Please keep watching. Hopefully that didn't
Yeah.
do it too much.
I mean, watch if you need to learn stuff, and if you don't need to learn stuff, find somebody who needs to learn stuff and send them here. Yes.
Yes.
It has to be
You
do one of those two things.
You have to replace yourself with someone else.
Not both
if you're
or
not going to
neither.
watch yourself.
Yes. Listing commas. Okay. This is a thing. I promise that actually needs to be discussed. So we put commas between items in a list, right? That's what we did. So put commas, or comma, whatever, between items in, hey CB Turtle, what's up? You know what? I'm going to hit who versus whom since you're here now, and before I actually get into listing commas. We'll do who versus whom. Okay, so I'll just do it here. Who is a subject. Whom is an object. You don't have to know those terms. In this case, I would recommend knowing these terms because of the few that you do need to know for the grammar and punctuation. You need to know independent clauses, which means you need to know what a subject is. And there is a difference between a subject and an object. So you have pronouns and you have nouns, you have gerunds, but you have the main idea of the sentence, and that's where the subject comes in. So I talk to Brady. I is the subject, not Brady. Lamau boy, what's up? Have we seen you in a while? I feel like it's been a sec. Anyway, who versus whom? If we say, ooh, Brady.
Yes.
Can you?
I'm playing my game.
Yes. Okay. She/her and her mom talked to me / I know I should do that in the other order.
You're saying her mom?
As the possessive.
Okay.
Fine. I'll say and.
It's just confusing. That's all.
No, it's valid. And give me a name. Short.
Maurice.
Maurice.
Word.
Maurice word.
Well, that's
Maurice
what
word.
Short for.
Okay. She/her and Maurice word talked to. That's not helpful. I'm just gonna keep it as Maurice.
Word.
Nope. Just Maurice. Okay. She/her and Maurice talked to I/me and Ben. Okay. For both of you, or everybody watching, but you two just commented, and mainly CB Turtle because you asked, which ones do we want here? Do we want she or her? Do we want I and me, or me? It's one of the two in each of these situations. And then, if you can very quickly explain why, explain why. Thinking in terms of subject versus object. Now, we will get to the who versus whom. But we're talking about subject and object. She and me. Exactly. Yes. So we want she and we want me. Because this is a subject. This doesn't matter. Maurice doesn't matter. Right? If we're going to get this out of here, then it would just be she talked to me. And we get rid of that. If you said her talked to me, that's no good. Now, it might be a little more confusing when you say Maurice and him were friends. Something like that. When it's second, some people make more mistakes. But this is wrong. It should be Maurice and he. Because if you get rid of the other nouns there that kind of clutter it up, it shouldn't be were, it should be was, but he was something, not him was something. And it's very painful. The same thing goes for who and whom. Who is a subject, whom is an object. One thing that I like to do to help remember this is that if we think about he and him, it helps with them because there's an M in that. So we have he and him among subjects and objects, and then we also have they and them. If you're trying to decide between who and whom, it's the same decision as between he and him or they and them. So if we say, I talked to the nurse who or whom took the bed sheets from my, bed when I was in the hospital, whatever. I talked to the nurse who or whom. Okay, so we're going to sort of let this part go and talk about just this part, and we're choosing between who and whom. Here, we're going to say, do we want he or him? Or let's say she or her because, we have a male nurse. That makes it easier. Okay, male nurse. And so we're going to say he or him. he took the bed sheets or him took the bed sheets. Immediately we know him took the bed sheets sounds terrible, right? So that's our gut feeling, which you want to always hold on to. He took the bed sheets, therefore it's just who took the bed sheets. Okay? Subject versus object, that is the difference. If you have a question and the sentence is a question and it's using who or whom, answer the question using he, him, or they, them, and then the answer will just reveal itself to you because you're not used to who and whom, because most people just say who all the time. And then some people throw in whom to be annoying, or they don't know what's going on. But we use he, him, they, them all the time, and our gut, what we've heard thousands and thousands of times correctly will set off an alarm bell in our head if it's used incorrectly, whereas who and whom don't really set that off. And we do care about that gut feeling. That is very helpful. Do you have any questions on this, CB Turtle? I can give more examples. There is a worksheet that we have, and I can send you the link to that in the chat in a second if you'd like. We have a worksheet of, I think I just sent it to, who was it? I think Hono is the one I sent it to. But yeah, let me know if you have any other questions about this, anything you want me to clarify. Otherwise, I will be moving to the listing commas, which are harder than you think sometimes. My ears hurt.
That's not true.
Oh. Where's it? Oh. Okay. Okay, makes sense. I'll take the worksheet though for extra practice. Thank you. No problem. Hey, Bird.
Yes.
Can you go to the Google Drive and then share? I think it's called Commonly Mistaken Words.
Get the link and put it on our chat.
Yeah.
Okay. On your computer, is that fine?
Yeah.
Very good.
It might actually, the last time I did it, Hono had to ask for permission to see it, which is not ideal.
Is it on the new drive or the old drive?
Use the old one, actually.
Okay. And it's curriculum?
Actually, it might not be on the old one. But I'll get it to you. Sorry, CB. Okay, so these listing commas. We're used to saying something like lions, comma, tigers, comma, and bears. So first off, let's do that. Those are nouns, right? So we have lions, tigers, and bears. Also, for those of you who are interested, this is not a full sentence, right? This is just a phrase of stuff. This comma here, some people say you need it, some people say you don't need it. It's called the Oxford comma. They don't test you on it, so you don't have to worry about it. I think of it as you always want to have commas between the items in your list, just the items in the list. So nouns are pretty straightforward because you have noun, noun, noun. It's easy. They're not doing other things and they don't have relationships to other words in the sentence. But so this is, let's do it with blue. So these are nouns. And we could have another one. We could say, so this is just some other, stuff in the sentence. We could also say he, she, and I went hiking. Notice, I said he, she, and I went hiking. This is our verb, went, right? Went hiking. All of us, we did that. These are all subjects. They're not objects. It's not him, her, and me went hiking, right? That's pretty offensive, probably, to your gut feeling. You want the subject here. But for this, he, she, and I. Here are the things that we are listing. He, she, and I. So we put commas between those things. Those are nouns. They're subjects in this case, whereas these are probably objects in their sentence. Now, let's hop to the more important one, which is adjectives. And this is more important because it's harder, so we need to actually talk about it. My guess is that most people don't have trouble with the listing of nouns. So here, if we have the big red dog.
Yeah, we got a Lamal boy asking about apostrophes.
Yeah, let's do some apostrophes after. Okay.
Throw it on the queue, dude.
Oh, I'm going to throw it on the queue. Don't worry.
Yeah. Just throw it on the queue.
Okay. The big red dog. we want commas between the things that are being listed. In this case, dog is not an adjective. It's not listing anything. The adjectives are describing dog. Therefore, because we have a big dog and we have a red dog. Therefore, here are the two things we are listing. Therefore, the comma only goes there. Most people probably don't have too much of an issue with that. It does get confusing because you have a bunch of things listed and you're like, okay, I'm just putting everything between it. Yes, don't include dog. You don't want a comma after red because you're not continuing the list. The list is here. You're separating with the commas. That's what commas are for. They are separating whatever the idea is. In this case, it's a list. Now, if we have something like, I went to the small living room. Here, we're going to have an issue, very possibly, because we have two adjectives, small and living, but they do not both describe room. This is a unit. It's a living room. So you actually don't have a list here at all. So you don't use a comma at all. If you were to use a comma, what that's saying is that small describes room and living also describes room. That's not quite right. What that means is that you have a small room. It's also alive, which sounds like the beginning of a horror movie. You don't want that comma here because you want to describe the living room as a unit as small. Now, if we were to say it was the small, the small dark living room, then it would be small comma dark living room. If anybody has any questions, please let me know. This is important. That is, let's see, there are other things. There could be, rooms are a good example, but give me a two-word entity.
Me?
Bird, yeah.
Catcher's mitt. No, that's not good. That's like possessive. How about a
Glasses tan.
Okay.
Glasses tan. I got a gnarly, painful glasses tan. Okay, so it's a tan, but it's a glasses tan. So gnarly and painful are both describing this glasses tan. We are not describing the tan as glasses. That doesn't really make any sense. We don't talk about tans being glasses. That doesn't work, right? Nobody's ever said that, ever. Except for Brady. You said that once.
Yes.
So in this case, this is our unit. These two are the listing adjectives. So we're listing these adjectives. We want one comma. If anybody has questions, let me know. It does not seem to be the case. So I will get rid of this, and then, Lamau we can do apostrophes. Okay, Lamau I have a question. I want to clarify something. Is it the, when to do apostrophe S versus when to do just apostrophe, or is it you don't know how to differentiate between contractions and possessive with apostrophes in general? Is it its and its, and its and its, or is it, or who's, or is it just when to, with normal words like the dog's paws or something like that? I would like you to clarify what you want. Yeah, we should have watched these a long time ago.
Yeah, we should have. It looks way better. Dude, we're just learning.
We're learning.
We're learning.
Everybody's learning.
And once we use them, we should put them in a dirty pile or something.
What?
You know? I mean, to wash them eventually, but we keep choosing clean ones.
Oh. So not just throw them out, you're saying?
Yeah.
Do you have a child?
Yeah, I do.
Tonight? What time?
9:30.
Nice.
I will leave shortly before the stream is over.
They have been unwashed for, I think I washed them in early February. So it was, probably 6 weeks, maybe a little less. That's a lot of streams. Both. Okay. Both.
Are
How are we lagging really far?
I don't know. Why do you say that?
Just because Lamauboy just answered with a pretty short answer. I don't know. Maybe
Well, Malmoy might be just.
maybe Lamauboy's lagging. Yeah, that's probably true. I don't mean that. Okay, so let's do with differentiating. Differentiating shouldn't be too difficult because it's context. So if you want an apostrophe in a word, it's either going to be a contraction or possessive. There's no other use of apostrophes, right, Bird?
Yes.
Maybe
Contraction
sometimes,
or
you know,
possessive.
saying like there are 4 sixes and you put a 6 apostrophe s, but that's not.
They'll never ask you about that.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, so we have apostrophes. Wow. Okay. That's not good. I'll finish that word later. Now we are going to have contractions over here. Breathe deeply, Brady.
Why?
In, out.
Contractions.
Yeah.
Very good.
Thanks, Bird. Okay,
I
so
understand.
contractions versus possessive. This is about context and deciding which you want. If you want the word to say it is, then it's going to be a contraction apostrophe. Also, that's just what it means. Or if we have Brady's tall, right? If we say this, this is Brady is tall, right? Because Brady wouldn't own tall. That doesn't make any sense. So Brady is tall. Now this is pretty informal to use an apostrophe s like this as a contraction because we don't normally talk that way in higher level stuff, and they're not going to give you super informal stuff, is my guess. It's not my guess. That's what I think and what you should believe. So barring something like this, apostrophe s is almost always going to be possessive when you're dealing with nouns. Now, there are some exceptions, which are the pronouns. Pronouns often, if we're going to talk about pronouns, let's do those first. Whose. That means who is. Whose with an apostrophe s is not possessive. That's this whose.
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 Whose. Whose.
Nice whistle.
So this would be whose book is that, right? To whom does that book belong? That's using whom, not whose. Whose book is that? But if you want to say who's there, that's who is there. So that's the difference there. Then we also have it versus, or its and its. ITS, IT apostrophe S. Sorry for punching that. Whose ears did you steal? Oh my gosh. Drumsy.
Drumsy?
I can't necessarily... Should we tell Drumsy?
Drumsy.
Steal is a strong word, Drumsy.
Drumsy. What do you think you're doing?
Did we steal the ears? It's like a forced borrowing situation.
I think we stole the ears and then they stole money from us.
Yes. If that works.
It was a consensual stealing transaction.
Not a bad point.
A CST.
IT apostrophe S means it is. Always. There's no except that. These two are the exception. Normally apostrophe S is going to be possessive, but with these two particular pronouns, it's going to be possessive for whose and its with no apostrophe. Whose and its with apostrophes are contractions. Everybody seems very happy. Very good, though, Drumsy. Whose ears did you steal? That's possessive. They possessed the ears, then we possessed them, and they repossessed our money, which they had originally as well.
Yes. They're
Right.
taking the hobbits to Isengard.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right. Who's hobbits?
They're taking who is hobbits
Right.
to Isengard.
Filthy hobbitses. Filthy hobbitses. Go to Isengard. Go, go, go.
I need to finish. Almost done. If we have... Now we're going to get into differentiating between apostrophe S and apostrophe. So that's that's the only thing here. So contractions are easy because it's just two words smushed together. You know that stuff. Now, possessive. If we have a word like dogs, all right, let's start with dog, and we'll go to dogs. And dogs have paws, so paws and paws. So there's one dog. It has paws. So to demonstrate that the paws belong to the dog, you're going to do apostrophe S. Here, these dogs have many paws, and to demonstrate that these paws belong to these multiple dogs, we're just going to do an apostrophe. The rule, always, is add apostrophe S. So you have your word here, and then you do an apostrophe S. There is one exception, and it is, let's do exception. If we have, why am I losing my train of thought?
It's plural and ends with an S because it's
Yes,
plural.
thank you. Plural and ends with S already. So in the case of dogs, we already have multiple dogs. You don't want to say the dogs is paws. But if we have a plural verb, plural noun like children. So there are multiple children, and children have hands, right?
Hopefully.
Unless the Pied Piper is around.
Yeah.
That thing is super, super violent.
You take the kid's hands?
Yeah, doesn't he? I don't know what he does. Does some bad stuff,
I
though.
thought he just stole the kids away.
I think he stole their hands. Didn't he cut their hands off?
I don't, maybe.
Oh, no, I'm thinking about the Pillow Man, I think.
The Pillow Man?
Yeah,
Who's that?
it's a play.
Oh,
Yeah, you know it. Everybody knows it. It'll be on the SAT, too.
right.
Or subject test, whatever. I don't call it that anymore. So, here. Children is plural, but it does not end with S, which means that we do an apostrophe S. You always do apostrophe S unless you have a plural noun that already ends in S. So, for some other examples, if we have Brian, we're going to do hands, always. So Brian has hands. We're going to add apostrophe S here because it's not plural, so we're done. But it also doesn't have an S, so we're also done. It's apostrophe S. If we have cats, the cats, there are multiple cats, and they have paws. And let's say claws. So the cat's paws, claws. The cat owns the paws own the claws. Everything is plural. Did I spell claws correctly? Yes, I did. Okay. Both of these words are plural and already end with S, so we just do apostrophes next to each of them. If that doesn't make sense, please let me know. Now, if we have something like the base, like an upright base type of deal, and there are strings, this is different. It ends in an S, but it's not plural, right? It's one upright base, and it's that base's strings, so we would do apostrophe S. Even speaking about it, I said bases. If you have a friend named Jess, and she has paws because she's a dog or whatever, Jess's paws, this would be apostrophe S because Jess is not plural. Now, if we had bases like this, there are multiple upright bases, and they have strings. Now here, we would just do apostrophe because it's plural and it ends with S. It doesn't matter if the word ends with S. It doesn't matter if the word's plural. It only matters if it is plural and ends in S. Then you just do an apostrophe. This is the rule always with possessive apostrophe S. This is the only exception to that rule. Just ask, is it those two things? If it is, just apostrophe. Any questions? Drumsy, if you're still here, do you have any questions? Do you want us to drink milk? If not, I mean, I don't think I have. Oh, I have milk, but it doesn't matter. I really don't want to do that.
We have to.
Yes. Questions on... I never finished this. If a name ends with S, don't you just put an apostrophe after it?
No. Chris.
So, no.
That's why I did Jess. So Jess ends with S, but it's not plural. So it has to be plural. Questions?
I'm going to add something to that. When we speak, we add an extra S. We say Jess's pause. So if we just put an apostrophe after Jess, we'll just say Jess pause. That's not what we say.
Right.
So we do have to add the S.
Yeah, same thing with Chris. If you say Chris's hands, you say Chris's hands. That s should tell you you're going to do apostrophe S. Also, Chris is not plural. Same thing with, so my last name is Jennings. So Jennings, that has an S on the end, but there are not multiple of me, and therefore we're going to do like Levi Jennings' markers. Could have done hands, whatever. There you go. Now, if there are multiple of people in my family, like the Jenningses, me and my siblings and my parents or whatever, then I would probably say Jennings family. That would be a little bit easier. But you got it. They also wouldn't make you do Jenningses or whatever that would be. Here's the rule. Here's the exception. That's all you got to know. And then differentiating with contractions. Remember that whose and its are the exception from possessive in general. For possessive whose, possessive its, they do not have apostrophes at all. Okay. Any other questions, CB Turtle, Lamau Boy, anybody else who is watching the stream? Why does it do that?
Do you know where they're taking the hobbits?
Where are they taking the hobbits?
Where is it?
Eisenhower.
Godhour.
Eisengodhour. It's like the witching hour, but Eisengodhour.
I like that.
Gustav Orkin Fallopian. Yeah?
Yeah, why not?
Okay. We have so much room on the board very soon for answering other questions, if anybody has them. Got to tell us. Got to tell us. We did apostrophes. Okay. So I can...
Or you can actually splash the Q word because it's on the other side.
Oh, that's exciting.
Isn't that nice?
Yeah.
We're moving on up, Levi. Moving on up.
We are moving up in the world. Okay, okay. It seems as though there are no questions, Bird.
I have a question.
You have a question?
Yeah.
Tell me your question. Oh, I actually have an observation.
Oh, yeah?
I'm going to have to wait at most 30 seconds to tell you about it, though.
What's your observation?
I think the observation is going to come up. It might have to do with some Greek words. Latin words. Whatever.
Uh-oh. First things first.
First things first.
We'd like to tell you that we're sponsored by Tide Bond Wood Glue because Levi and I have a Tide Bond.
The other sponsor is Alta Ipsum. Alta Ipsum
.com
for you.
today.
And for the rest of this month for free.
Oh, for free.
For very free.
They wouldn't give away something that good for free now, would they?
They would.
Well, what does it do?
It allows you to track your grades in school. You have to input them. It doesn't just figure it out on its own. Input those grades. Input when your tests are. It will set up a test studying schedule for you.
it allows you to organize your life in a way that is utterly impossible to do without it.
Correct. That's something. Yeah,
is.
yeah, yeah. It's like you're outsourcing your stress to an app. The app will get stressed, but you won't,
Yes.
because it'll know when you should be doing things. So you just ask the app, when should I do this? It'll say, do it now. Do it now.
Yeah. It's entirely voice activated.
Yeah, and it's
It's
programmed
not, actually.
to sound like... No, it's not.
It sounds like us.
Yeah, you know what? You should put Noidish on it. Get
That's
it?
a good idea.
Yeah, it's put it on the schedule. Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Thursdays, 8 to 9:30 p.m. EST. Watch Nerdish. You want to get ready for that big fat ACT or that big fat ACT? You watch Nerdish. Put it on your calendar. It's free for a month. For a month! You got to get the month right in the year, because it's only free for one of the months. So it's, it might be April, but it also might be October. So you don't know which one's going to be free. That's not true. It's free for
it's
you
this one.
for whatever month you start out.
Yeah,
it's actually been free the entire time.
It was free last month.
But you just weren't using it.
You really screwed the pooch on that one.
Yes, you did. Yes, you did. Okay.
I would like to put on the wigs.
Really?
Yeah, would you?
Can we keep the ears on?
Yeah.
Okay. Here, you go grab
I'll
the
go
wig.
up on my wig on.
Yeah. Now it's just me.
What are you gonna do?
What do you think I'm gonna do?
Cartwheel?
I can't do a cartwheel. My back is preventative.
Ah.
I'd like to do a cartwheel or a handstand. Levi's grandma is going to be here soon. Levi, where's your grandma?
She's coming.
Okay. I miss her. She's such a nice lady.
Oh, she's a very nice lady.
Oh.
I don't think it really does much.
Yeah, it does.
Maybe it... Oh, it does. That's nice. Okay. Here we are. You didn't ask questions, so this is what you get. I think. I'm very cold.
Levi?
Are you cold?
No.
Oh.
There must be something deeply wrong with you.
Right.
On a very deep level.
Oh. Okay. Well.
Hello.
Did we do a word from our sponsors?
Oh, you mean altaipsum.com. New
Or
messages.
Is this Hono getting upset?
What's the difference between a comma and a dash?
The shape and the placement.
Next
and the
question.
Next.
No. They do very similar things.
Okay, so commas have a bunch of uses on the test. There are 4 main ones. We've talked about them ad nauseum. I don't know if that's the correct usage of those 2 words.
No, I think until you are nauseous. Because you
Right.
talked about it so much.
Right, ad nauseum.
Nauseum.
Ad nauseum. Right, so commas have a bunch of uses. One of those uses, the main one that they test you on, is the non-essential elements of sentences, the appositives. Ignore that word if you don't know it. Then, dashes only do non-essentials. That is the only thing they do. That is the only thing you need to worry about. So, if you see dashes in an answer choice, and they're not in other answer choices, so you don't have to think about it, dashes offset those non-essentials. If you have 2 dashes, that means your non-essential is here, and your other stuff, or independent clause, is here. Maybe there's other things going on, but that's what dashes do. This is a very obvious situation because the non-essential has to be in between. If you have a single dash in a sentence, it is most likely that your main part of your sentence is here, and your non-essential is here. Be careful. It could maybe be the other direction, almost never. Make sure that when you see dashes, you look for the non-essential, you look for your independent clause. If your independent clause is here, the dashes are wrong. You may not use a dash and a comma to offset the same non-essential. It has to be 2 dashes or 2 commas, or a single dash or a single comma, whatever it might be given the situation. Do you have any clarification questions, CV Turtle?
Levi,
Yeah.
do you know where they're taking the hobbits?
Where are they taking the hobbits, Mabel?
Don't call. I was Eleanor. They're taking the hobbits to Isengard.
To Isengard?
God. Thanks.
All right, I doubt it.
You know what that reminds me of? I'm sorry. You know what that reminds me of?
Oh, THX before the old-timey
No.
movies when it goes
No.
bah,
Before the
and it's just
old-timey
THX on the...
They still do that.
Oh.
No. When Harry Potter lets the snake out in the first movie, and it goes, thanks.
Oh.
I mean, you're hearing it from Harry Potter's perspective, in which the snake is speaking English, but it's secretly Parseltongue.
I think most camera mics are Parseltongue.
You think so?
I do.
How'd you know?
Well, how else would we understand what the snake says in the movie?
That's true. Yes, you're very right.
Also, some of them say parcel mouth.
Well, yeah, the language is Parseltongue.
Oh.
The person is a parcel mouth.
Right, so you're an English mouth.
Yes. I've always been an English mouth.
And you are, well, not always.
Well, that's true. I was baby mouth. Actually, though, I think when you're an English mouth for a long time, you just say you're an English myth.
An English myth, which
Like
is where they got the word subtle from.
A parcel myth. Yes, subtile. Subtile. Below the tiles. Look below there. That's where the bodies are buried.
Where is Tile 124? I remember him.
Tile 124. Dum ba dum bum 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 bum. Where is tile 124 124 124?
Tile.
Something like that.
Ah.
Hey, instead of leaving, why don't you guys ask us questions?
Or
Or danger zone time?
danger zone.
We're here for you.
Gotcha, get your danger zone.
You gotta get it. You gotta get it.
the danger zone.
Get in that zone.
Danger.
Don't leave.
It is elliptical in shape.
There's an X radius
So.
and a Y radius.
Major and minor axes.
Hey, Levi,
Yes.
got a joke for you.
Oh,
Y radius.
I don't know.
B.
What do I say?
No, that's it.
Oh.
Right? Because on the equation for an ellipse, the Y radius is designated as the letter B.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Ah.
Your wits aren't as sharp as they used to be before the operation.
Yes.
Everything's different now since the operation.
They put this nice young boy's body on my hair. It was a big operation.
Under your hair, you mean?
Yes, well, depends.
And they cut your
We were in Australia.
they cut your original body off,
Right.
and they replaced it with his new body.
Yes.
All that was left was your hair.
Right.
Right.
What did they do for you?
They gave me the works.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's nice. You got paid?
Yes.
I had to pay.
Yeah. I got paid.
Okay.
Ask us your questions. Tell us your secrets.
Tell us
Confess.
your story.
Confess. You know you want to. You're gonna feel
Shame.
better.
Shame.
You're gonna feel much better.
Tell us personal details about your life and your whereabouts. Don't.
We
Don't
can't.
do
We
that.
don't want those things.
If we get told that, we get in trouble.
Big trouble with the
Right.
feds.
Right.
Random question time? Yeah. Right?
Okay.
Why not? I'm gonna check what time it is.
What's your question? I feel as though I look more like just a Russian
When was the last time y'all took
Like
the ACT?
furry hat thing.
Also, it's 8. Well, CB Turtle, where we live, it's 9. I took the ACT in high school, and then I retook it about a year ago at this point.
Oh.
Yeah.
I take the ACTs when they come out.
You mean for public consumption,
yes.
and then you publicly consume them.
I consume them in
In
public.
public, like a coffee
yes,
shop or
and then I get
something.
sent to jail.
Yeah.
You're not supposed to eat that much paper. It's very wasteful.
So they send you to jail for it,
Right.
rather than the hospital.
Yes.
Hey, you know what hospital is spelled backwards?
No.
Latipso.
The tipso.
Latipso.
The tipso.
Latipso. Huh. Hey, CB Turtle. When was the last time y'all took the ACT?
What?
That's what I want to know.
CB Turtle. Hey,
CB Turtle, walking down the street. CB Turtle, the kind I'd like to take the shell off and eat.
very good.
New messages.
What is it?
December Elmo. Elmo.
Do you know what Lamau is backwards?
Omo.
No, I wanted to say it.
Like oatmeal? Want me to find an ACT question? Of course! Don't just find anyone. Find one that you're struggling with, and maybe
Yes.
we can help you figure it out. That's what we're here for. We spend an exorbitant amount of money to rent a space so that we're here for you.
It's not necessarily exorbitant.
Well, compared to like a gumball.
Right, but it's much bigger than a gumball. I mean, if we were shooting this stream in a gumball, it would be very dark, and we wouldn't be able to get much on the whiteboard, the lightboard.
Very
Yeah.
true. Now, if we could somehow shrink ourselves down to the size of a gumball and then do our stream inside the gumball, our rent would be so cheap. We would just have to get the gumball, which is 25 cents.
That reminds me.
$10.
When I was very young.
Oh, yeah?
This is a sphere. Okay?
Right.
And then this is a bigger sphere.
Yeah, right.
No, it is. Just suspend your disbelief.
Suspended.
Okay. Now, the radius of this gumball is 9. The radius of this gumball is 3. No.
Yeah, why not?
Oh, okay. 3. I didn't think of that.
It's okay, you didn't know.
Right. Well, yeah.
Yeah.
So, what is the ratio of their radii? The ratio of their radii is 3 to 9, right? Or 1 to 3.
Right.
But, Bird,
Yeah.
what is the ratio
1 to
of their
27.
volume?
1 to 27.
But, oh.
We'll ship.
Will ship who?
We'll ship you. That's what the answer to the
We'll
joke
ship
was.
you right over there.
Oh, that's
We're
where
gonna
they
ship
go.
You there. That's where the shipments go, Will.
Yeah, well,
You will
once
go
you're over there, woo, Discord.
Oh. You're here, Jay. I doubt it. Now, this is the ratio of their radii. Radii. But the
Hey,
ratio of
Willship
their
is
volume-
following us. Got 96 on. Oh, look at that! Jay the Whiz Kid got a 96 because of us. Remember when we decided to spend the extra time talking about arcs and things? It's a couple nights ago. It was last Thursday. Hey, Jay the Whiz Kid, you're a whiz kid. I don't know if anyone's ever called you that before.
Probably.
Anyway, yeah, Levi, keep
the
going.
volume ratio is different because the equation for volume is pi 4/3, pi r cubed. Therefore, we're cubing the r, so we're cubing that. You cube the ratio, and you get 1 to 9. No, you get 1 to 27. 3 cubed is 27, not to be confused with 9. Very easy to confuse those two numbers. You wanted a 100, though.
Hey, we all want 100.
That's not a bad thing to want.
Yep.
But
Maybe
it's
next
a dangerous one. You know what they say about 100s?
They're 10 more than 90.
They always say that.
Yes. You track them down, you make them say it, they will say it. What is the probability? I like this question a lot.
Does that mean you want me to do it?
No, it does not.
Right.
That the number will have 0 as at least one digit. Okay. We'll have 0 as at least one digit. Okay, the question is,
We're going to choose an integer, i.e. a whole number, from a list of numbers 100 to 999 inclusive, which means we're including 100 and 999. The borders of the list, they're included. Great. It's chosen at random. What is the probability that we'll have a 0 as at least one digit? And there's a question mark there, Levi. There, very good, very good. Okay. Very good. Yes, yes, this is Spanish. This is Spanish. Well, it's probability. So probability in general is desired over total outcomes. So probability of some event is the number of desired outcomes over the number of total outcomes.
How do you know that?
Because. So let's first talk about how many total outcomes we could have, which would be how many total numbers could we pick? Is it 999? No, it is not. It is the number of numbers that there are between 100 and 999, including 100 and 999. How are we going to figure that out? Well, you might think, let us subtract those things, right? So 999 minus 100 is 899. So there must be that many numbers.
No.
Not exactly. Not exactly.
It's very close.
Yes. Let's think about if the list was 1 to 5 inclusive. And let's do the same thing. How many numbers are between these? Well, let's subtract. 5 minus 1 is 4, so there are 4 numbers. No, there are not. It takes 4 jumps to get from 1 to 5. True, but you have to include the first number 1. You have to add 1 more to get it back to the number of numbers that there are. So plus 1, then you got 5 numbers. So you do the last minus the first plus 1. That will give you the total number of numbers in the list. 999 minus 100 is 899, but then we're going to take that and we're going to add 1 to get 900 total numbers. 900 total numbers, okay? Let me know if you want me to go through that again. You want to find the number of numbers in the list from some number to another number, you do last number minus first number plus 1. Great. So knowing that there are 900 total numbers means that we can eliminate one option, which is E, because it has 1,000 numbers there, which you probably could have figured out is not going to be the answer anyway. So the next thing is how many numbers have at least 1 0 as one digit, okay? Let's think about that. All of our numbers are going to have 3 digits, because we're going from 100 to 999. Every number in that list is going to have 3 digits. Are we allowed to have 0 as the first digit? No, we are not, because then we'd have only a 2-digit number, okay? So the first thing cannot be 0. So that's not something we have to worry about, okay? There are 2 different possibilities that would both satisfy having at least 0 as one digit, okay? It could be having 0 as one digit, having 0 as 2 of the digits, but not having 0 as 3 of the digits, because that would mean it would look like this. And this number, 0, is not on the list. So we could have a situation where we have only 1 0, and we could also have a situation where we have 2 zeros, okay? And together, those both account for the situations where we have 0 as at least one digit. So let's do the easier one first, okay? We're going to have to work through this systematically. That's the only way we can do this. Let's try to find how many numbers have 2 zeros in them. We've already discussed we cannot put a 0 here, because then it's no longer in the list from 199. So there's only 2 places we could put zeros, which are here and here, okay? So how many numbers can we make that have those 2 zeros right there? Well, we can make 100. That's on the list. We can make 200. You can see where this is going. 300, 400, all the way to 900. Okay? How many numbers is that? Those are 9 numbers right there. So we have the number with 2 zeros. There are 9 of them. 9 numbers that have 2 zeros. Now we get to the hard part, which is how many numbers have 1 0. Okay? Let's think about this. I'm going to go over here. We cannot have 0 in here, as we've already discussed. But we can have 0 in the middle. So let's think. Well, the lowest number we can start with is 1. What numbers could be here? We could have 1. We could have 102. We can go all the way to 109. And then we are done with at least the 100s. Okay? So when you're in the 100 range, you could have 0 in the middle for 9 numbers. Once you go 1 more, you're in 110, which also is a 0, but we're going to get to that in 1 second. We cannot do that right now. Okay? So for every 100 meaning for the 100 range, the 200 range, the 300 range, there are 9 numbers in that list that have this central 0. So that's 9 numbers in every 100, and there are 9 different groupings of hundreds that we're trying. We're trying 100, 200, 300, 400, 500, blah, blah, blah. So there are 9 hundreds to choose from, which means we're going to do 9 times 9 is 81. 81 numbers have a 0 in the middle. So number with 1 0 in middle. There are 81 of them. So together, we're not done yet, but we add those things up, and so far we have 90. We've got 90, so let's see if we can eliminate anything. Yes, we can. We can eliminate A. It says 19 is too small. Eliminate B, 81, also too small. C, well, we're not done yet. We're not going to be done with 90 because we still have to do the situation where only the third 0 is the 0. We haven't done that yet, so we can't stop at 90, which means it's going to have to be D, 171. All right, we can walk through how to get to 171, but 271 over 1,000, 1,000 is the wrong denominator. We've already eliminated D, so it's going to, I'm sorry, we already eliminated E, so it's going to have to be D, okay? Well, we could talk about it, though, real quick. We're going to have to systematically figure out how many numbers have 0 in the very last spot. So we have 0 in the last spot. Well, let's start with 100. Already counted it. We cannot count that again. We can't count 2 zeros. So we have to have something in here, like 110, okay? We can keep this 0 here. We can also put a 2, put a 3, a 4, all the way up to 190, okay? So for the 100 range, there are 9 of them that you can do because of this middle number here. For every other 100 range, there's another 9 that you can do. So it's the same thing here. We have 9 times 9, 81 options with a 0 at the end. If you add that up with where we were before, we had a total of 90. Now we add this last 81, and we're at 171. Who asked that? Who asked that? CB Turtle. Does that make sense, CB Turtle? You got to be very systematic. Think about all the situations that could happen. Start with the easiest and move towards the more complicated. Makes sense. Thanks. Good. Muscles. You got to have muscles on your muscles. You got to have muscles on your eyeballs. SpongeBob.
I actually saw a surgery of somebody getting a growth of muscle pulled off their eyeball.
Were you there?
Yes, I was.
Was it weird?
It was.
Yeah.
It was very painful
Sounds like it.
for an eyeball.
For an eyeball? Eyeball. There's something very satisfying about erasing this board. I like it a lot. There we go. Yes. Very good. Very good. Yes. That's it. That's the one. Okay. Got it all. I want it all. I want it all. I want it all. And I want it now, not then. Or the other way. Right now. You gotta be systematic, CB Turtle. I always say that, and you never listen.
Never.
I could have seen this coming from when you were a child. Levi.
Do you know what a group of turtles is called?
What?
A bale.
How do you spell it?
B-A-L-E.
Oh, like Christian Bale.
Right, Christian group of turtles.
Okay.
It's a very religious group.
Christian Bale, Jewish Bale, all sorts of different Bales.
Right.
Right. A bale of turtles.
Yes.
I've never heard that before. Or maybe I have, I just didn't really store it in my noggin. Which is why I didn't know that. This board is getting so clean. I'm just so fresh and so clean. This board is so clean, it's fresh and clean because it's fresh and it's clean.
And flirty and fun.
And fun and flirty. You gotta be flirty and fun, especially in this economy.
Oil prices not being what they were.
No.
What?
Oil prices being what they are, and then you make your opinion known. What if I told the kids in my class that? I want you all to raise your hands, and whenever you have something to say, start off with oil prices being what they are, and then give me your answer. That'd be really fun.
For you. Might upset them.
Right. What is that? Is that the chair? Oh,
Of
it's
course.
the why is it there?
Well, you gotta move it.
I don't have to do anything.
Chairs are always there unless you move them.
That's true. They've done studies. That's what happens with chairs. Is it a face or is it a vase?
It's the Wizard of Face.
Oh.
It's not the Wizard of Oz.
Ah, very good. I like that. I used to have this tooth in the back of my mouth that was silver, and I felt like a pirate. But I don't have it anymore because when I got old enough and my mouth was large enough, they were able to put like a normal crown in. Very sad.
Sounds very sad. This is
A story of a girl who cried
Cut a river and drowned the whole world.
Hey!
Is that a tongue?
Wait.
It's Frogbird.
Frogbird!
This was your father. Frogbird.
This still is my father.
Well, yes.
So you're saying that my mom was a negative frog times bird? Because then they canceled out leaving with just being a bird?
She was a gorf.
Oh, a gorf.
Yeah, she was a gorf.
You can tell just
Oh,
by
Chicago
looking at
gorfs.
Gorf, exactly. There's a whole community of them.
Gorfalicious definition, make the other gorfs go loco. Milkshakes bring all. Right?
Dance break. Dance. Da, 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 da. They're taking the hobbits to Isengard. Da, 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 da. We're doing so much today. So much. So proud. Permutations. Permutations. There you go.
Hey, Bird,
Yes.
what's a permutation?
Good.
Right. Oh, my gosh. What is happening? No, that's a valid question. Lots of stuff going on in the economy.
Generic ear name. Generice our name?
I would say generic name.
Yeah.
What's going on? Or what's happening? Not
Here's-
what's going on. What's happening?
Let me
Keep
say
that
something.
in mind.
Let me say something.
I'll let you
No
do
one
it.
is asking us questions, so this is what we do when we're not being asked questions, okay? You have
Right.
no one but yourselves to blame.
It's entirely your fault.
This is your fault. If you're like, what's happening, think about what you're doing right now. And you're not asking questions. Like, you should be asking us things like, what's happening? That's
Right.
a question.
So now we've stopped doing what we were happening before.
We're not doing it anymore.
It's not happening.
Yeah, it's no longer happening.
What's happening with you?
You see any good movies lately? Not you.
Oh,
Generic rice name.
yes. I think it's
Gene Rice? On name?
probably Gene Rice.
Yeah. Nice.
Very nice.
I love seeing a good movie recently. I didn't ask that though. I said, have you seen any movies recently?
Do you have any questions about the SAT or ACT? Are you of SAT or ACT taking age?
Or
Or
do you have children?
any children or family members?
We're ACT and SAT tutors if you couldn't tell by our stream and our garb. This is what
Garb.
ACT and SAT tutors look like and
All
how
of
they
us.
sound.
What about you? Is the question movies that we've watched recently?
I think.
I like your ears. Where did you get them? They were a combination of my mother's and father's genetics.
Right, like your Gene Rice name?
Yeah. Probably got half of that name from your mom and half your name from your dad.
You know, your last comment, generic rice name, is a perfect scenario in which one can insert a semicolon, because we have I like your ears. That's idea one. It's a full independent clause with subject and verb and complete thought. Semicolon. Where did you get them?
Independent clause.
Independent clause.
Clause.
Hey, wasn't your cousin? Tell me about your cousin.
Yeah, well, no, it's not my cousin.
Oh, not your cousin.
Yeah.
Friend of your cousin.
Santa had some siblings.
Right.
One of them ran away when they were very young and they've never returned to the family. His name, Independent Claus. Also, if you cut your hands off but you keep them alive somehow, they also become Independent Claus. This is a dependent clause because these are dependent clause because they depend on me for their survival. I have a child I must attend to. It means I have to tutor. So actually tutors, believe it or not.
We do. Hey, how long have you had this student? Who's this one?
Oh, he's great. I've had him for a while.
You should go up and tutor him in that gob. Do it. I'll give you $1. No? Okay. Hey. Well, now bring him here. Oh, well, no. So we tutor online. Well, we also... No, you cannot see him. That's literally impossible.
Who asked? Bring him here?
Generic rice name.
Oh, I want to see him.
Right. Yes, so Bird is now gone.
Not yet.
Son of Frogbird. Goodbye, Bird.
Yes.
We have 6 minutes left. Does anybody have any questions related to the SAT or ACT, or now that Bird is gone, Bird's personal life? I can certainly give you all the information about him. I'll tell you where he lives. I'll tell you where he eats. He lives where he eats, so it's not actually extra information. It's very cold in here. Is anyone else cold? I'm very cold. I'm also wearing only a t-shirt. What is on the science portion of the ACT? Can we do commas with names and occupations? Oh, very nice, CB Turtle. Have we not talked about that? I feel as though we may have talked about that on a stream relatively recently. But yes, we can. First, what is on the science portion of the ACT? Generic. What is your interest in it? Why are you so interested in the ACT science section? Are you going to be taking it anytime soon? Please do let me know. It's a tit-for-tat thing, because seeing as you're not paying me anything, I would like to know a little bit about why you want to know. That's actually not why. I think I can better answer your question, giving you information that you actually care to get, if you ask, if you tell me. Yeah, I take it this summer for the first time. Oh my gosh, that's very exciting. What a thing to do with your summer. You can do other things, but do that too. ACT science section. It is predominantly data analysis. And then what I call method analysis. And then there's some outside knowledge. So, for example, well, let's start with the math section of the ACT or SAT. They require you to know a great deal of knowledge, a great deal of stuff about the math. But for the science section, aside from knowing how to read the English language, you need to know some things about science that you are expected to pick up in your time in high school, which is things like the pH scale and balancing chemical equations and states of matter, and that, you know, water freezes at 0 degrees Celsius and boils at 100 degrees Celsius also. So that's your outside knowledge. There is a small amount of information that you do need to know.
Then the rest is data analysis, mainly data analysis. That is dealing with charts and tables and graphs, being able to interpret them, see what they mean, being able to interpolate, which means say, well, if I have 5 something and 6 something and they lead to numbers, then I know that 5.5 leads to something in the middle of these two, right? So that's interpolating. Or extrapolating, say, well, here's the graph, and I think that while this number's not on the graph, it should, the graph's going like that, I know the next one should be up here, it's not going to be down here. So those types of things. Then there's method analysis. These are a little trickier that people don't necessarily know they need to reorient themselves when they're doing these questions. These ones are when they say, in this experiment, what did they do? Or if they changed this part of the experiment, what would happen? This requires you to understand how and why they did the experiment. That requires some closer reading. It requires a little bit of that reorientation, because you need to figure out, oh, thank you for the follow. I don't know how long ago that happened, but wonderful. I'm glad you're here. Yes, you can ask questions like this all the time. You will get good at the science section if you ask us questions. I promise. Now, you have to listen to the answers. This method analysis is the tricky part of the test. We can get more into when we have more time, perhaps tomorrow or the next day if you're around. We can go through some science questions together, see how to follow the path from the questions to the answers. There is a very good way of going about them so that you can differentiate between these question types. And then you are more prepared, you're not wasting time, that type of thing. But this is the ACT section in general. It's a lot of, here's this information about this thing you really understand not at all. Here's some questions about it. You BS your way through it, being very logical. You can get everything correct, assuming you have all the outside knowledge necessary. You can get everything correct on the science section, but then there's time involved and the outside knowledge, that type of thing. But if you take the perfect approach, you should be okay. You should do pretty well. Now, what was the other question? Commas with names and occupations. Of course, of course. Thought you would never ask, CB Turtle. Names and occupations. So, if we have... We can do it. No. We have time. Don't you worry. Don't you worry. It's very short. If we have Chris, a turtle, no. There are a couple things. Yeah, I don't want to do it this way. It's not a good idea. Not a good idea. If we say President Donald Trump, I don't want to write it all, whatever, goes to France. Yes, he goes to France, whatever. President Donald Trump goes to France. This is a title, right? It's not describing Donald Trump. It is his title. That is how you address him. I'm sure you don't address him. But President Donald Trump. It's the same thing as painter Michelangelo is clumsy. I don't know. Probably was. I can't imagine why he would not be. Here, painter Michelangelo is clumsy. No commas. No commas. They're not necessary. The commas you're thinking about are non-essential commas. But if you put a non-essential here around Michelangelo, non-essentials you can take out. Can you take out Michelangelo? Absolutely not, because then you have painter is clumsy. That doesn't make any sense. Now, if we have Donald Trump as a non-essential, you can take that out. You have president goes to France. Again, it's no good. What you're missing is a subject that actually makes sense. If we say, let's say our president. Yes, so our president, Donald Trump, goes to France. That's fine, because if we take out this non-essential, and this is lowercase, whatever, we have our president goes to France. That's fine. This word made it okay. So remember, non-essentials can be taken out. Therefore, if you are considering putting a non-essential in and you're thinking, oh, but it says something like paint or whatever, then just take that non-essential that you think you may need to create out and see if it works. If it works, it works. Now, I want to show you something very exciting, which is, if we say a werewolf Chris has fleas. So Chris has fleas, right? In this case, there's only one comma, which means that that Chris is certainly not a non-essential, right? That actually means that this is your non-essential, because this is describing Chris, a werewolf, or a teenage werewolf. Chris has fleas. Now, if we were to put a comma here, then this becomes the non-essential. This is no longer the non-essential, and in this case it makes sense. A werewolf has fleas. What werewolf? Chris, the werewolf. Okay? So, non-essentials can get a little funky in your head, but remember the basics of them, which are they're non-essential. You can take them out, it still has to work, and you cannot lose too much information. This, we're not losing that much. We now no longer know that the werewolf's name is Chris, but the point of the sentence is to say the werewolf or a werewolf has fleas. So just adding that other comma actually changes where the non-essential is. You don't have to necessarily remember that rule. You do need to remember that commas offset non-essentials. Now also remember, I think it was CB Turtle who asked this. It may have been Lamauboy, I forget. You could also do a dash here. In this case, the non-essential is before the dash, right? A werewolf. Chris has fleas. Or we could say, Chris, a werewolf, has fleas. Or, Chris, comma, a werewolf, comma, has fleas. Do you have any questions on this? Clarifications, worries, concerns, thoughts, ideas, follow-ups, frustrations? Very good. Okay. I am going to sign off now. We will be back tomorrow. We'll be here. I don't know where you'll be, but ideally also here. Well, not, yeah, you understand. Okay, hey, if you hear generic rice name, please come back tomorrow. We can get you very ready for the ACT by the summer. And you don't have to pay anything, because we do this 3 nights a week, 8 to 9:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Right. If you have any questions, anybody, please put it in the Discord or put it in the chat right now before I go. Very good, very good. Okay, have a lovely night, everybody. Very good. Thank you, CB Turtle. I appreciate that, and hopefully generic rice name does too. Why does this not go? Yes, that's where you can ask us questions when we're not streaming, or during the stream if you want to post a question that you've been working on that's given you trouble. Good night.